Hi, welcome to another fantastic episode of You Didn't Get the Memo. I'm your host, Gloria Bailey Ray, and I'm excited that you guys decided to join us. As always, we have a fantastic show for you. But you guys, I just want to tell you, don't go anywhere because this duo of ladies, look, they're going to bring it. So you do not want to miss this. I want to remind all of you that are new to watching the show that if you have comments or questions, you can place it in the comment section and we'll do our very best to answer those questions for you. But You Didn't Get the Memo, again, is about just providing you, the viewer, with relevant, factual, mainstream information to help you be informed and to make informed decisions. You know what? Today, my guest is a real estate dual team, Ms. Georgia Richardson and Dr. Angela Cleo Smith. But before I bring them on, listen, you know what? I want to just remind all of you guys, this is the hot housing market. It's been covered endlessly in the news, about how America's housing market is on fire. Look, what's been widely reported is the fact that millions of Americans aren't aware that they actually may be living in one of the country's hottest housing markets, and they probably don't even know it. Mortgage rates are still hovering at record lows, and working with the team is what my guests are all about today. This is becoming more common for real estate agents, and it provides a real benefit for both agents and their clients. The National Association of Realtors conducted a 2018 survey and found that roughly at that time, 26% of agents work in a partnership or work with the teams. Now, real estate teams, they work and thrive off of collaboration and community, and that's what you're going to hear from my guests today. Team members work together, they support each other with every client, and you're going to hear more about this from my guests as I welcome Miss Georgia Richardson and Miss Angela Cleo Smith. Ladies, thank you so much for tuning in and helping me out today. I'm excited to hear and talk with you guys.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Thank you. It's great to be here. And, good luck talking to two people at one time because we kind of talk simultaneously. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll work it out regardless of what it is. And so what I will do, I will start by asking, let's see, I'll start with Georgia. And then, Angela, I'll bring you back in. But let's talk about, a little bit about your backstory. What was your draw to get you ladies into real estate?
Well, my backstory goes all the way back to my childhood. My mother was a real estate agent. She later became a HUD appraiser, and she was the manager of the only Black successful real estate company in Dayton, Ohio. So I got my beginnings very young. I used to type up contracts for her. Little did I know that my career path would be in real estate. I had other interests as a teenager, ended up getting married, and my path went totally different, but it circled right back around to real estate.
Oh, and for me, I'll just go ahead. If I were to think all the way back to when I was a child, there was 10 of us in the house, plus parents, might have been 12 sometimes. Anyway, it was so many of us, and we moved around a lot. But we knew, although humble, we knew the importance of home ownership. So that kind of started my thought process of real estate. However, that wasn't my path. I didn't know that I wanted to be in real estate. It wasn't even in my spirit at all until one day I said, I'm doing a lot, but I'm not doing enough. So I always thought, how could I serve? So one of my questions and my prayer was, how do I serve? And believe it or not, real estate showed up. And I said, real estate. And then, because I asked, I need something that fits my personality, I can help others, and then it can sustain me as well as I get into my retirement age and then continue with something, whatever it may be. So real estate popped up, and that's the beginning of my story.
Well, see, and it's interesting. If we just follow our path, what and how, and for me, spiritually, God just leads us to it. So, very interesting. And I love to hear the backstories from my guests, because there are other people who are out there kind of struggling. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? Where do I go? And I always say, God just shows up and shows out, and He shows us what it is that we need to do. But you ladies, both are in real estate. You're working as a team. So I'm going to jump around a little bit and say, talk to our viewers about working as a team, because for me, I came along with real estate, and all I ever knew was one real estate agent, and they're trying to juggle and handle everything, and how frustrated I would get when I needed an answer to something or needed a follow-up and I didn't get that. But I love this concept that you're working as a team. So talk to our viewers a little bit about, what that team concept is. How did that come about? How does it benefit the both of you as well as your clients?
You want to start,
Well, let me first start by saying I have been a lone ranger in real estate, doing pretty much everything myself for all the number of years that I've been in real estate. So the whole team concept is actually very new for me. And I'm actually adjusting and learning how to share skill sets. I know what my strengths are. I know what things I don't necessarily enjoy doing. And I had to take an exit out of real estate for about 6 years. And when I re-entered, things had totally changed. I realized that there was a learning curve for me. I had to learn the new technology that's come out. And I no longer had the same energy level that I used to have as I was younger. And delegating had never been one of my strong suits. So the benefits of meeting Angela, we met in a social setting, didn't even think toward working together in real estate. And quite honestly, I'm going to rely on Angela to remind us how we got this started in the first place, because I don't even recall. We just connected socially. And the next thing you know, we weren't seeing each other on a regular basis. We just struck up a conversation one time around real estate. I know she was referred to me by someone to talk to me about real estate years ago. Mm-hmm. And again, it came around full circle, and little did we know that we would end up being, working together at that time. Yeah. So I'll let you go.
For me, I always thought when I get in real estate, because I know nothing about it, I'm good at taking tests, so it wasn't hard for me to take the test, pass it, and then now what? So I work with some of the larger agencies like Keller Williams. I'm with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Drysdale's Properties right now. Really, really happy here. I've worked with Excel, Sessions, and I think one other. But my thought process was, how do I get information, expedite my learning, and how can I help? Because I always thought, if I'm going to use some of my educational background, helping people in real estate and buying and selling, how am I going to do that? How am I going to educate someone when I don't have enough information? So, of course, I'm reading every day, but it's hands-on that's really, really important. And I remember talking to a friend, his name was Reggie Green, and he used to be in the real estate business. And he shared information about a little bit about real estate, and he said, I think you should meet someone, because I mentioned mentorship. And he says, Georgia Richardson. And that's how we really got started. And I was so excited that I'm with her today, and here we are, full circle.
Oh, I love that. I love hearing that story. And it's just amazing how you can just put things out in the universe and things come full circle. So what a great story, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so I'm gonna jump right in. So let's just talk about what's the difference between a real estate broker, a real estate agent, or a realtor, or is there really that much difference? So I don't know which one of you would like to take that, but just talk about what your thoughts are in regards to that.
I think I'll take it because I've worn all the hats, so to speak. I started out as a real estate agent. As a real estate licensee, you have to work under a broker's license, someone with a broker's license. There's a higher standard of care at the broker level. So when you first get your license, they know that you're new. They know that you don't know the laws, and it's very easy to get yourself in a lot of trouble. So they put you under the wing of a real estate broker to guide you through the learning process. Some choose to stay as a real estate licensee or sales associate or whatever. They may just have Realtor after their name, which is a whole nother subject. Realtor is not a generic name for all real estate agents. To be a realtor, you have to be a member of the national, state, and a local realtor association. Not all agents are realtors. So I want to make that distinction. And from a brokerage standpoint, and being a broker, it allows you to start your own shingle, so to speak. And that's what I did. After 12 years in the business, I started my own company as a broker. And then I, in turn, brought licensees under my broker license and mentored them until they decided. A couple of them have gone on to get their broker's license, and some are still working as real estate agents, or they may even have their license and be like me now. I am a broker, but I am working as an associate with a broker. So my level of standard of care is expected to be higher. If I get in a transaction and something goes awry, it's like, well, Georgia, you're a broker, you should know better. Whereas you might get, a little bit more support as an agent, thinking you may not know. So you're held to a higher level of standard, basically.
Right. Oh, well, thank you, Georgia. Honestly, I didn't realize that. Okay, so those are the types of things that we really and truly want our viewers to know and to understand. So you hung out your shingles. I love the way you said it. Hung out my shingles. All right.
Richardson Real Estate Services.
All right. Well, listen, what's the difference between a residential agent versus a commercial agent? Because I've kind of run into both when I was looking for commercial space, but I've had a real estate agent who says, oh, I can help you with that. And that didn't go really well. I think it's just because it seems like one focuses more on one area than the other. So what are you ladies' thoughts in regards to that?
Well, Angela, I'll let you just say what you know about it.
Yeah, what I know about it, because I have a really good friend, Divine Couture, who is a commercial real estate broker, and she teaches about commercial real estate. And I'm learning from her what that means, how I, as a residential real estate agent, how I can kind of morph into that if I want to. So I'm a residential, and I help clients get in homes, whether they're buying or they're selling homes. So I help mainly with residential. And if someone's looking for income property, I handle that as well. Now, as far as commercial, what I know about commercial real estate is that usually if you have a storefront or some type of a warehouse, a studio, something like that, that's usually a commercial real estate agent will help you, a broker help you with that. But pretty much I am a residential real estate realtor.
Okay, all right. That's really good to know as well. And one of the things I know, I kind of had a dialogue with Georgia for a minute about buyers and sellers, and I'm just like, okay, ladies, y'all take it away. Tell our viewers what it is that you want them to know. And we do have comments, so I'm just going to just share those comments throughout. Each one teach one. So Georgia, it totally looks like what you and Angela are doing. People are all very supportive of that, on board. And also we have the real estate expert. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. You have questions, be sure and just post them up in the comment section. So going back to the question about buyers and sellers and working in a team, because I see this as it really being a really, really good fit. So what do you ladies have to say in regards to that?
I'll let you go first, Georgia, and then I'll type in.
Well, quite honestly, my brain got stuck on a part of the commercial. We kind of segued over, and my mind was still stuck on one distinction that, if you don't mind adding that in, Gloria, is that in residential for multiple units, once you go over 4 units, that's considered commercial multifamily purchase, and there are different forms for it. So you have to be knowledgeable, at least in the residential side of it. If you go into multiple units, beyond 4 units, 1 to 4 is considered residential. Over 4 is commercial, but you do have agents like myself or brokers like myself who do handle multi-units over 4 units. It's just that you have to use different forms and you have to have a different knowledge base about how that works versus the residential.
Oh, wow.
So I wanted to throw that in there.
All right. So 4 units, anything over 4 units is considered commercial?
Yes.
Even if it's an apartment building with 6 units, it becomes commercial.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that limits me 4 units. I don't need any more form. All right. So Angela, you were going to also just respond about, as working as a team with buyers and sellers and things of that nature. So go ahead.
Yeah, there are advantages of having a team, and that's what we found. That sometimes I'm on the buyer side of the contract, and George is on the seller side. So we work together in that capacity. And then if we have working on just, let's say, the seller side, and we both are working on it together, she may do part of maybe that marketing, and then I might work on the escrow part. And now that COVID is changing, we could do open houses, and that way I can do open houses while she's doing something else. So we work together. We use our strengths, our weaknesses. We both kind of learning about what we know and what we don't know. And I know I bring something to the table, and Georgia has a wealth of knowledge for over probably 30 years, 30 some plus years. And when you have that type of knowledge, you want to learn, you want to listen. And at the same time, when she said technologies are changing, so we have to continue to learn. And we call ourselves life learners, because it's never, ever too late, and you never will know everything. Because what I've noticed in this business, you're going to always come up with something different. It's never the same, and people are different as well. And that's why what I do is I try to build relationships with people so that they know and trust that I will do a good job and give good service. And having that backup of having Georgia Richardson as my team member, people are like, oh yeah, we know we're going to be in good hands.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. Listen, ladies, we've got to pay the bills. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I would like to have you both talk about what are some of the most common mistakes that you see when people are looking to purchase a home or to sell a home. All right. So you guys don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for hanging in here. We'll be right back.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, We must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face cover.
And even with my face covered,
you will see me.
As a son.
As a man with a never quit attitude.
And a fighter for change.
Join me in wearing a face cover.
To help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.
All right, if you guys are just tuning in, I have with me two awesome women, part of a team, Georgia Richardson and also Dr. Cleo Smith. And look, it's just going down right here. Y'all got questions, you need to be asking the experts. That's why I titled this, Ask the Experts. Before we went to break, the question that I posed to both my guests was, what are some of the most common mistakes that they see when people are looking to purchase a home or to sell a home? And y'all, I know you want to listen up to this, even though you're in love with your house, but I'm certain that there are some things that these ladies are going to be able to share with you. So guys, take it away.
Okay, well, let me start with something that just popped in my head real quick about a lot of people kind of put the cart before the horse when they're buying. Let's say use the buyer as an example. The first thing you need to do is know your numbers, where you stand, what's your credit score. You must get a lender unless you can go into a 401k account or use your own money through a whole life insurance policy, something like that. Then you don't have to worry about a mortgage lender, a broker, and you don't have to think about how you're going to purchase the home. But the first thing you need to do is find out what you pre-approved for. You have to have a pre-approval letter in hand before you go out and start shopping for homes. Because if you're shopping for homes that are $800,000 and you qualified for $600,000, then why are you doing that? And then what I'm finding, especially during COVID, they were not allowing people to go to certain properties unless you have a pre-approval letter in hand. So number one, get your credit score together and make sure you have a pre-approval letter. And that's something that Georgia and I do because we know many mortgage people, we kind of partner our clients with who we think may fit that particular person. But I'm going to let Georgia go ahead and say what she has to say. But I think that was really important, especially on the buyer side.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Pre-approval is the word you want to remember. And don't mistake it for the word pre-qualification. For many years, you could have a pre-qualification letter and present that with your offer. Scrap that because they don't hold any water in this type of competitive market. The difference is a lender, if you go to a lender and just give them verbal information, how much do you make? You know, how long have you worked? You know, you might have an idea of what your credit score is, and you're giving verbal information. And based on that verbal information, the lender would tell you, well, you could qualify for about this amount. They'll say, well, how much debt do you have? And they'll say, well, it's about this or that. There was no absolutes. So they would present their offer with a pre-qualification letter and then have to go through the pre-approval once the offer was accepted. Turns out their debt to income ratio was all messed up. Their credit scores were not where they needed to be. And so the deals would fall through. So as a result of that, the standard of care now is pre-approvals. And they've gone one step further. You have to show that you have the money. You have to verify that you have the money and the down payment with your offer. It used to be that the lender would just need to know that. Now, if you're presenting the offer, they want that verification that you have the cash. And during that pre-approval, you can't go out and buy a car, go out and do because you figure you're already good to go, because they're going to recheck that credit. They're going to recheck all the information just before closing. And if you've got something on there that throws your numbers out of whack, then the deal could potentially fall through. So you definitely want to take the time to understand the process so that you don't get yourself in a situation where you cannot perform and could potentially lose your deposit because you have not done your due diligence and putting things in order prior to writing an offer.
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting. I love the way, how'd you say, Georgia, being pre-qualified is not the same as being pre-approved.
Right.
So things certainly have changed. And which of course makes sense, right? You're holding up someone who could possibly purchase a home because somebody else is over here saying, well, I was pre-qualified. And that was the day of, when I came along, when you bought your house, you were pre-qualified.
Right.
But knowing now all of these other things that really need to be in place, that totally, that changes the landscape altogether. So love hearing that. But at the same time, let's talk about the flip side. Somebody who's wanting to sell a home, right? Now, I know as real estate agents, you ladies have gone into some houses where bathrooms haven't been updated in 30 years. And you got some crumbling brick, but they say I live in a great neighborhood, but it's going to take $150,000 to even kind of bring it to a level that you can show. But let's just talk about some of the things that people who are looking to sell a home that they need to be aware of. And I'm really interested in hearing from the both of you, especially someone who's been in their house for 30 years, what are the things that are looked at that would qualify, someone saying that I can sell my home for this and get this amount. So thoughts?
Angela?
There's a good, bad, and an ugly story with that, but we'll stick with the good. The main thing is when you're thinking about selling your home, you do want to think about, do I want to sell my home as is? Okay, that's one thing. Now, if you do sell your home as is, people are going to come in there, they're going to use that leverage and say, well, the bathroom doesn't look this way, and I'm going to have to do all these repairs. And so they're going to be negotiating. And before you know it, you might be in a situation where you're not getting what you're asking for. Another thing is that I've experienced with sellers is that when you come to people like Georgia and I, we are professionals. We work for you. And when you sign on with us, just know that you're trusting two professionals with integrity, with ethics, and it's going to really take care of you. And we're going to do all the marketing. We're going to do everything we need to do. So sometimes the seller needs to move aside for a second and let us go to work, because I know you love your home. You think, oh, well, this house is worth, because my best friend said it's worth X amount of dollars. It doesn't work that way. So careful how you set up your listing price, because getting into where you have to go, if you go too high, you're going to find yourself lowering. Because remember, even though it might be a seller's market, the buyers dictate the market price. So keep that in mind. And I'm going to let Georgia go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Georgia, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll tag on to her last words there.
Okay.
That the buyers dictate the price. And there is a standard saying in real estate that in order to determine market value, you have to have a ready, willing, and able buyer and seller who agree upon that price. Because the seller says, I need this amount before I can do X, Y, or Z, or I got to have this amount out before I can do X, Y, or Z. The buyer comes along and looks at that price as it compares to probably 20 houses they've looked at. They have more knowledge of the market because they've been looking at things and they are comparing your house to others. You've only seen yours. So if you're a seller, go out, and now that COVID is lifted up and open houses are opening up, if you're thinking about selling, go out and tour these houses yourself so that you can make the comparison yourself as to what they are looking at. So when they come to you and say, well, this is what I'm willing to pay, it's not just arbitrary. And it's not just something they pull out of a hat. They have been looking and maybe lost houses in multiple offers before. And so they may be willing to buy your house needing some work because they've lost out on something else, but still that factor is going to be there. Right. And you also want to talk, when you're a seller, as professionals, we want to determine what market we're looking for your house. If it's a fixer, then we're going to go toward individuals or go toward a marketing plan that will draw in investors or draw in folks looking for that kind of home. There are those who just want turnkey. Oh, I want everything done. I don't want to do anything. I just want to move in. That's a particular target market. Your homes that need work, that's a target market. So not to belabor that, those are just a little extra.
No, but it's a great way because you actually kind of answered another question that I had for the both of you in terms of what goes into how, one arrives at the listing price for a home. And so you talked about that, and I'm certain that there are probably some other things, not just what the seller is saying, because I live in this particular neighborhood and my house is this, but I've been here for 50 years and I've never even put a coat of paint on it. There are things that would go into that. So you led into that. I don't know if you have anything more to add to that, because do you look at homes that are in the area or that are comparable to what you guys are looking to take on to list for this particular person? So what are your thoughts about that?
I'm going to let Angela talk about what we do with comps. What I wanted to add to what I was saying is that many times the sellers are looking at something down the street. They heard such and such this home sold for X amount. My house is as good as their house. So because that house sold for that, it gives them the initiative to want to sell theirs, but maybe they haven't been in that house to know what was in it. So many times they have limited knowledge and they're just going by the numbers. What's important for us as a team and Angela is to be familiar with not just pictures, but where now that it's opened up to actually see these homes, virtual tours now are the thing. So you're able to look inside of that home and see what that home looked like. And that can be provided to the seller. If they aren't able to get out, we can send those links and say, look, this is what that house looked like on the inside, so that they really can have a frame of reference for it. And then I'll, Angela, in terms of
the comp, you already talked a little bit about comps. Comps is what you do is compare your house with someone else. Let's say you both, for example, there's two houses in the same block, built the exact same year, same 3-bedroom, 2-bath, same square footage. Okay. And now you're thinking, oh, well, that house just sold for $650,000. So I probably can put mine for $650,000. Well, it all depends. And that's why it's really important to do some homework. And that's kind of where real estate professionals like myself in Georgia will come in, will educate you, will tell you what and why your house may not be, I don't want to say worth, or the value may not be $650,000 because there's no upgrades. That particular house did hardwood floors, took up all the carpeting, changed the windows, and they did a lot of upgrades. You, on the other hand, might be thinking, oh, I'm just going to sell as is. So keep in mind, we do the work. We're going to compare prices in those areas, and we try to go as close to as possible, because houses are selling off the shelves. So we'll go back a week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months. So within 6 months, if nothing has happened, we'll go back a little further, maybe to a year, and so that you can get your comparables and you'll know exactly what your house is worth and what it's valuing at. Because once it's appraised, you want to make sure your appraisal and the value you put on the market is pretty much the same.
Yeah. Okay, that totally makes a awful lot of sense, because I know that there are things. I just think back to when we bought our home, and it was on the market for one price, but the we were outbid. I mean, like over by $100,000. And the thing was, but we knew by going in and really looking at what was needed, we knew exactly what it was going to take to bring that house up, to the standards that it's supposed to be. And guess what? When the people ended up bidding and they outbid us, I was hurt. So for those of y'all who are hurt, never fear. The thing is, it turns out that our realtor called us back and said that the people pulled out because they couldn't afford it. When they found out everything that it took to bring the house up to code and everything, they weren't prepared for that. So when you outbid somebody by that much money, and of course back in the day, $100,000 was a lot of money. Now I hear people outbidding by $500,000, $600,000, $800,000 for a home. But those are really, really good tips for our viewers to know. And one of the things, one of the viewers, I was trying to find the comment, the piece that you made, Angela, about integrity, and I actually wrote that down, is that it's so important to be ethical and to have integrity. And so, you guys, what you're watching is a team of professionals who, employ integrity and being ethical, because at the end of the day, it's not about just making a sale, because those things can boomerang and come back on you. So we had some comments from one of the viewers, great information to be aware of, but also they said busy updating and making repairs to prepare for the market. And that's really good to know. So this is really, really good information for our viewers. So here's a question for you. As real estate agents, are you guys only relegated to work in a specific area? Meaning this is only this one little pocket? Because to me, that wouldn't make sense exactly, but I don't know. So what are your thoughts in regards to, or your responses in regards to that?
You want me to go first on that one?
Okay, you go first and then I'll answer.
Well, first of all, we're licensed in California, so legally we can sell property anywhere. But the practical part of that is that you want to be an area specialist or stay within your lane, so to speak, because then you know all the little idiosyncrasies of that the communities, the city, the things that the buyer needs to know, or even the seller needs to know, that are required when you sell your home or when you buy a home. So what Angela and I are doing, we've target marketed a particular geographic area where we market and or target that particular area for listings. Listings are gold for a real estate professional, because you'll get the buyers if you've got the listing and you have your sign up. You'll get buyers who will call. From the buying standpoint, you want individuals that they're referred to you. You might have friends that refer buyers to you. Those buyers aren't restricted to any one area. They may want to look in Hayward or Berkeley or Richmond. So I would say for me, some people are more comfortable, and even Angela might be more comfortable going even up to Sacramento because she's familiar with Sacramento. I wouldn't be. I'd say, look, Angela, that's yours. Because you run the risk of missing something in the course of that transaction that can later come back and bite you. Mm-hmm. So to answer the question, I mean, you can add on to that.
Just to add, it's better to focus what we call farm area for us personally, because we do market in that area and we send flyers, we do updates, we give market information in certain areas. So, and it's more convenient for both the buyer, the seller, and then for us. Yes, I am familiar with Sacramento. It depends, because driving back and forth, let's say it's a buyer and I have to show property. So I may refer it, and that's usually recommended that you refer. I have, my sister Tony and Danny Taylor, that sister and brother-in-law, Sheila Jefferson, they're out there in Sacramento. So I have partnerships out there, and I just refer them out. And if not, like I have someone in Vallejo right now, and I was thinking I'm going to have to refer her out, right? But right now we're working together. I'm giving her more information than anything right now. So if it gets to a point where I need to refer, I will definitely do that. If not, I'd rather take care of her because she was referred to me. And usually a referral is somebody that you just want to take care of all the way to the end.
Okay. All right. We have a question from one of our viewers that they hear a lot about you need to depersonalize your home when you're putting it on the market. And the question is that true or false?
Well, for the best results, it's a true. And I'll refer you to the latest and greatest thing that's going on now is staging. And that's exactly what staging does. Mm-hmm. Staging a home depersonalizes it. You don't have pictures. You don't have collections. The reason for that is not what many think. I've heard African Americans say, oh, they wanted me to take the Black pictures down. I'm not taking my Black pictures. It's not about that. It's about distraction. Buyers go in, they see pictures sitting around. You're trying to show them the house, and they're stopping looking at who owns the house. And, oh, I know that person. They went to school with and they get distracted. Mm-hmm. If you've got collections, let's say you've got what do you call those? The things that you put your little tchotchkes in, and what you've got all this collection. I can't think of the curio case. And you've got a whole collection of beautiful, let's say beautiful crystal. The eyes of the buyer get distracted and they leave the house remembering your stuff versus remembering how the house looked. So the answer to that is true.
Yeah. Okay. And the other thing is, when you really think about that, you want the buyer to see themselves in the house,
right? Not
see themselves trying to be in the house with your stuff. So it's not saying, if I understand you correctly, it's not saying that your things are not valuable. It's just that it doesn't serve the purpose of which showing the house would be, for them to be able to see it without the distractions and those types of things. So I think that would be, definitely make an awful lot of sense. So let me just ask you ladies this question. Let's talk about what a marketing plan, or do you guys do marketing plans? I've got this on, you working as a team. I'm thinking, okay, you work and you put together a marketing plan for the client on how you're going to sell their home or help them to purchase a home. That I don't know. So that's not a trick question. I really and truly don't know. So what are your thoughts in regards to that?
Well, I'll start, and then I'll have marketing expert talk a bit more about it. Now, I've done marketing and promotions, which are kind of they do overlap, but they're two different things. So marketing is important. We work with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and they have the latest and the greatest, all the tools, everything that you need to market for us to market your home. So we have everything in place. And with the 3D virtual videos where you can see up close and personal, we have that. We have flyers we can do. At COVID, we have to shift now because we couldn't do a whole lot. But that virtual marketing was really, really important. And the fact that we weren't doing flyers at the time because people could not until, the restriction was lifted for us. So marketing is definitely important, and we have all the tools, but that's where we start. Marketing is going to be really important. These days, if you're selling your home, they're going so fast. We even have coming soons now. I remember once upon a time, coming soon was a no-no, but now you can do the coming soons. So people are trying to get houses even before they hit the market, and that's just a whole nother story. But I'm going to let Georgia maybe pick up and have some thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, a marketing plan is pretty consistent for most houses. You get to luxury homes, and I like to think that I do the same service for the lower end properties as for high end property. The basics are the same. How you enter, how you first prepare the house, there's steps that you go through. And the plan, if it's followed in the order and there's enough time, let's say if you plan out a month ahead of time, it's easier to plan out how you're going to remove the things from your house, stage it, get it in its best possible light so that we can maximize your net profit. And that's the key. When we're doing the marketing plan, is to lay out what we as a team are going to be doing in the background that you may not see. All of this social media and all of the technology and all of the things that we are getting out to the rest of the agents. When you're a listing agent, basically you are reaching out to all the other agents to sell that house. You're not necessarily reaching out to buyers because most of the buyers are working with agents. So you're marketing to a whole slew. When you hire us as your marketing team or your listing agent, we are going out and soliciting all of the other agents out in the market to say, hey, look at this house, bring your buyers to this house. So that piece of the plan, you may not see what's happening, but that is a major part of it. Going on the MLS and then letting, if the seller's interested enough in knowing and wanting to know exactly what you're going to do, there's a whole presentation that we do that will outline all of that for you. And we may have to customize it for some. Like I said, there may be, if it's a fixer, then we have to do a marketing strategy where we reach out to individuals in the market who are looking for those types of homes, and our marketing will reflect that. Mm-hmm. So actually, we're just trying to get all the other agents in the industry engaged in looking at and drawing them to that particular home.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to take another quick break. But when we come back, the question on the table, I see that you ladies were answering questions and there were comments. They had questions and they said question answered. So excellent job there. But when we come back, let's just talk a little bit about, when a client, if a client can work with the same agent when selling and purchasing a home. And this is why I felt like working as a team was so important to have you guys on here. So don't go anywhere. Guys, keep bringing the questions. We love them. So we'll be right back. But you're tuned in to You Didn't Get the Memo with your hosts, me, Gloria Bailey Ray, and my awesome guests, Georgia Richardson and Dr. Angela Cleo Smith. So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Roll over. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Show some respect. Show you give a damn. Show the world how it's done. Show them that when your community needed you the most, you showed up. Mask up, America.
All right, if you guys are just tuning in, I have just the pleasure of having two dynamic women, and I call them the real estate experts. They have been answering questions and sharing and dropping knowledge for all of you that are out there in this quote hot housing market, whether you're looking to buy or to sell. You've got two of, I would say, the finest real estate agents that I know that would be willing to help you. So I want to thank you so much for bringing your questions. Before we went to break, one of the questions that I asked was, can a client work with the same agent if they're trying to sell a home and at the same time buy a home? So who wants to take that on first?
I'd like to address the technical part of it.
Okay.
And then Angela, maybe you can just show how that might work.
Okay.
First of all, there's a misconception that when you hire a real estate agent, that you are just hiring that agent. You're actually hiring the brokerage. The broker is the agent, and you're basically the associate of that agency. So it's a kind of a misnomer when we say, you know, we're the listing agent, and when on the documents it'll show, you know, who the broker is, and that broker is actually the over both agents. So even if you had two different agents, like Angela and I are both with Berkshire Hathaway, in both cases we may represent the client actually doing the work, but Berkshire Hathaway is considered a dual agent because they have a fiduciary, and the brokerage has a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we're dealing with clients in a fair, honest manner, or it reflects back on the company. So when dual agency, that's the term for when the seller and the buyer are represented by the same brokerage. So I just want to give that technical difference of dual agency and how the company itself plays a part of that. Now, within that, Angela and I work for the same company, and we may be working with clients that are both a buyer and a seller, which is another complex part of it. But when you're dealing with two people like me and Angela who are integritous, we know what we're doing. We're going to look out for our clients. We're going to also look after and protect our own licenses, because that would be foolish to put ourselves in jeopardy of losing our licenses over doing something that's needless.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
From there.
No, she pretty much said it all. We've had experiences where we've had the same client, and we had the same client for both on the seller side. We worked together as a team, making sure we took care of that person. Then we had a client where we needed Georgia. I remember Georgia had the seller, and then a buyer came up, and Georgia said, "No, I'm gonna refer you out. I don't want to do both." And I mean, some people do. I know Georgia chooses not to. I think it would be too much to try to balance both the buyer and the seller and trying to do it all. You can do it, but since we work as a team, we do shared responsibilities, or she take the buyer and I take the seller, so, or vice versa.
Okay. We have another question from a viewer, and they want to know, well, first, I think the first question is if her property is empty, how expensive is staging? And then she had a second part to that, or a better question would be, how much furniture should you bring in?
Well, I would suggest that you just have a stager come and do a consultation with you. If you want to maximize and make sure everything is uniform with staging, you can just clear out everything and have the stager do the whole thing. Or if you're working on a budget based upon what you want done, they can sometimes use partially use your furniture and add accessories to it to improve it. But it really depends, and a consultation basically is what I would suggest, is talk to somebody, have them come and look at it and make suggestions for you in your budget.
Okay, so that means that there are professional stagers out there. And how would one go about finding them? And she said, thank you. So
let me add to, well, that's where the consultation comes in. We have recommendations for staging people. We use them. We don't do it ourselves. I'm not a stager. However, I had a client who actually was still living in the house. And when I was showing the property, no one even knew that someone lived in the home unless they asked. And they said, does someone live here? Because there was, food. You could see little things of food where people may live in the place. It wasn't like plastic or anything. So they used their own furniture It was beautiful. They were kind of artistic, and it wasn't overcrowded, but it really enhanced their home. So it is possible that you can do it yourself, but I would suggest you talk to the real estate agent and you work it out together to make sure that you're getting the best, you know, I don't like to say bang for your buck, but you want to present your home in a way where you can get the full value of staging it, whether you do it yourself or professional staging.
Yeah, there's three things you always want to consider, and that is that the property is clean, free of clutter, and color. Neutral colors are the best. That way, like you said, Gloria, earlier, you want them to be able to envision and have a canvas to work from to make it what they want. If you have too bold of colors or things that might clash, you may eliminate some buyers just because they get overwhelmed with the thought that they're going to have to paint over a red wall with white paint, and that turns them off. But the house could be good for them. They just can't see themselves there because now you've put a barrier.
Right. Ladies, I'm going to ask that you guys hang in here, and I want you to think about this. We're just going to take a really quick break, but what do you want people watching the show today to take away from, the dialogue that we've had, which has been fantastic? I'm totally loving it. I'm like, okay, y'all got me motivated. So, and apparently, some of the viewers too. So just think about that. And when we come back, just share with our viewers, what is it that you want people to take away, from today's show? All right. Don't go anywhere, you guys. We'll be right back.
Thank you for watching the You Didn't Get the Memo show with your inspirational host, Gloria Bailey Ray. It's your contributions that make this happen. To become a sponsor, send an email to youdidn'tgetthememo@gmail. That's the letter U, didn't get the memo. If you're not in a space to be a sponsor, but you like what you hear, we simply ask that you support what you like by making a contribution to the show. There are 3 ways to make an online donation. Visit paypal.me/Gloria Bailey Ray or Cash App or Venmo, Gloria Bailey Ray. Give what you can. Your support is appreciated.
All right. Before we took that short break, I posed to my guests, what is it that they would like the viewers to take away from today's show? And I'm going to start with you, Angela. And okay, I'll start with you. Okay. So let us hear what it is that you want the viewers.
Okay, so what I want you to take away is, of course, just know that Georgia and I are here at your service at any time. And even if you have another agent and you want to ask a question, feel free to ask us because we give information all the time. And that's what leads to me to talk about a forum that we host every Sunday for 1 hour from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And it's called Real Estate Forum, Ask the Experts. And it's a Q&A, and we bring in experts where we learn. We bring people, experts in financing, mortgage, how to promote your business, how to use social media, and so on. And we have learned so much. So we do have a forum on Facebook, and it's called Real Estate Forum, Ask the Experts Q&A. And just join us anytime on Sunday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., and you will learn so much more than what you got from us today.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I've been in on a number of those forums, and they have been very beneficial. So, Miss Georgia, I'm kicking it over to you. What do you want viewers to take away from today's show?
Well, I would like Angela and my picture on a magnet or somewhere on your refrigerator or on a list with the rest of the professionals that you refer to when you need professional counseling on something. When you go to a doctor, you go to that doctor because you've got something that you don't quite know what's going on and you expect that they'll help you with that. We want you to put us in that category of professionals that if you have any real estate related question, don't hesitate to call us. It's not always about us trying to get your listing or so. We're here to service. We're here to help. Use us as consultants. That's partly why we do the forum. We want to be of service as well. And when you do that, the business comes. Obviously, we would love to, if you're going to sell your home or know of someone that you want that wants to sell their home, we would love it if you would give them our name. So just think of us as that next professional that's going to be on your list of doctors, lawyers, real estate agent.
All right, absolutely. So ladies, don't go anywhere, but I want to put this up because this is the Ask the Experts. This is the Q&A forum. So it will be up just so that you guys know that the show will post to Facebook, and I see a lot of you are on YouTube, but I do want to thank our guests, Ms. Georgia Richardson and Dr. Cleo Smith. Be sure and check them out no matter what. If you are really in the market, get informed. That's what this show is really all about. I want to also give a general reminder to all of you to support our efforts by inquiring about our sponsorship packages and opportunities, or if you'd like to be a supporter so that we can continue to bring this type of programming to keep you informed. And you can do that as well by making a donation of any amount. There is no amount that's too small. There is a blessing in giving. For my sponsors, I do want to thank our sponsors who have been here supportive, and I love that. I want to remind all of you guys to be sure and follow me on all my social media platforms. Mark your calendars for every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, for great shows on You Didn't Get the Memo. We're going to close out the month of July with a discussion with these two powerhouse guests that you have seen today in real estate. So I do want to also give a shout out and remind you that starting in August next week, you guys, my guest will be the Dr. Ron Osborne Williams, who is a marriage and family therapist. This brother is dope. From the East Coast. Y'all don't want to miss the show. Whether you're single, married, divorced, raising children, wanting to date, get married, he has something for all of you. And as I always say, if you didn't take anything away from today's show, then it's really you who didn't get the memo. Until this time next week, have a great week. Give thanks for all of your blessings. Stay safe. Don't hate. Be kind. Remember to always pay it forward. Remember this, perseverance will walk you into your purpose. I'm Gloria Bailey Ray. I'm your host as always. Peace, love, and blessings. Until next week, God bless.